Good evening, my dear friends. Today is the 47 days for meditation, and today I will on the Q&A to finish the question on how Buddhism view on death, and there was a few rituals carry out in the Buddhist tradition. So I will today I will try to answer those questions, and so that means that we almost spend 5 days on just how the Buddhism view about the death issue. And tomorrow night we will talk about the Buddha's birthday, the Vesak Day, and the Mother's Day. And then on the last day, the 44th day, I will talk about how Buddhism view on this pandemic, this kind of Buddhism and COVID-19 from my own experience and to share. So after the Sunday, the next week, I will tell you, tomorrow I will tell you what we're going to do after that. But definitely I would like to kind of reformat, refresh, the content, also the content, okay? So Sam, always at the very, the first half an hour, we're going to practice the meditation we have been told you. We call C&C meditation. C means calming, literally means stop. Concentration, but in Chinese it means stop. And then it's a guan, like an insight. And then we use the contemplation, because I think that it all makes sense as well. So C&C meditation means calming and contemplation. And this is from Tian Tai school, very legitimate school, talk about meditation. Also with Tian Tai's master Zhi Yi's works, he's writing to support this meditation. So and right now a lot of people doing the mindfulness meditation, but if you want to go even deeper, have a more solid foundation, and Tian Tai meditation definitely will be the place you should go. Okay, so again, good habit. The first one, do not eat too much before you do meditation. Do not be hungry, not too hungry, okay? Not too sleepy, and also not too hyper. Okay, so the food and the sleep, it's very important. So before you come to do the meditation, if you do some stretch, the yoga, and take a shower, have a good spirit, and the yoga stretch your body, be a good preparation as well. When you're doing the yoga, don't listen to any music. That's the only thing with kids, okay? But if you want to have a serious meditation, don't listen to the music, no TV, okay? Quiet, at least just for an hour. And then, have a cushion, prepare the cushion, no cold floor, do not directly touch on the cold floor. Always have some mattress or blankets kind of on the floor, and you need to be firm, hard floor. Don't sit on the sofa. The sofa too soft, so you will kind of distress your bone structure. And so when you have the cushion, then tell yourself, this is my temple for an hour. So when you sit, okay, you tell yourself you're going to have a meditation. And slogan, okay? Body, breath, and mind. And for the body, 7-step Vairochana, okay? Legs, feet, legs, and then back, hands, shoulder, chin, tongue, and eyes. So step by step to make arrangement for your body posture. The first one, your legs always closed. Either you can half lotus position or full lotus. Okay, just closed and back. No hunchback, no stiffness. Okay, so upright but relaxed, and then hands, both thumbs slightly touched. And now, circle the body 3 times, clockwise and counterclockwise. The purpose is to make sure that you sit stable, and the second is to loosen your muscle and joints. Okay? And now, come to your shoulders. Make sure that you can, kind of shrug back and forth, and then open up, put it down. Now many people have a shoulder stiffness. So, to relax the shoulders, and the chin, not up, not down, but horizontally pull in. Okay? And, okay, we're going to breathe out, exhale three breaths to breathe out the impure air, congest inside your body. And after you breathe out the 3 times the air, and immediately close your mouth to keep pure air inside. Now. Of course, when you're breathing out, you can imagine, like a visualization, the impure air gets inside your body, and then, breathe out, breathe out with the air. Now, the tip of your tongue slightly touch the upper teeth, behind the upper teeth. It generates saliva, so its mouth is not too dry. And then now close the eyes. Now after these 7 steps, Vairochana, we call 七支披露7支法. After these 7 steps, then you have a beautiful, like an upright posture. This is very important because they can help you kind of breathing very smoothly. And then you can sit longer. Now think about it, okay? The body is a temple, and the nostril area, this area, the bridge of your nose and then to the two nostrils. This area is your meditation hall on your body. So now bring all your mind to your meditation hall, to your nostril. Okay, breathing in and breathing out. Remember 3 techniques I share with you. The first one, do counting. Breathing in, breathing out, you count for 1 and 1 to 10. Then once you can immediately focus. Of course, after you are very, very skillful, you can immediately focus on here. Frankly, you don't have to count. You can just do the second technique, following the breath in and the breath out. Just follow. And knowing, aware of the breath in and the breath out. And the breath or the breath is short. Is the breath rough or subtle? And aware of the breath full of the body. Of course, if you do this, it's good enough, but there is a third technique. If people have a difficult to concentrate, then you can try to focus on the stop breathing, that between inhale and exhale. After you breathing in, before you out, there is a second moment, that instant, that almost you stop breathing. Okay, and then focus on that stop. So 3 techniques on this so-called breathing method, anapana. Okay, now give you about 7 minutes to practice, and then after that we will come to review the vipassana. So now go ahead, 3 techniques on the anapana breathing. Okay. Once when you can concentrate on breathing and your breath is very subtle and no congestion and no panting, no gasping, especially no noise. When your breathing becomes so subtle, then that means you are concentrated. Now this time, let's practice and to observing the sensation on part of your body. The sensation means heavy, itchy, numbness, or hurt, or sore. Okay, now start with your head. Bring all your attention. You be mindfulness on the sensation on your top of your head. Head. Now move to forehead. Right eyes, left eye, right cheek, left cheek, and chin. Whole facial sensation. Now move to your neck, back, or in front. Now the shoulder, right shoulder, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, your hand, and the fingers from 1 to 5. Now move to left, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, hand, from 1 to 5. Torso, chest, belly, to your back, your waist, hip, thigh, right knee, leg, foot, toes from 1 to 5. Like a scan. Scan the sensation on you. Now, the left hip, left thigh, knee, leg, foot, toes from 1. Now you have a scan your body from top to bottom. When you have a time, you can do reversely from the bottom to the top. Move to technique 2 that to find focus on the sensation, the sensation on your body. Third technique, go there to find where is the pain, what is the pain, where exactly, inside, outside, right, left. What does it mean about pain means? Now, leave it 5 minutes for you to concentrate. Let's start our metta meditation to spread our loving kindness, thought, and prayer to ourselves, to people we know and people we do not know, to the older sentient beings in this universe. May I be free from the effect of coronavirus and other diseases, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May my spouse, partner, and children be free from the infection of coronavirus and other diseases, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May my parents and brothers and sisters be free from the infection of coronavirus and other diseases. My teachers and students be free from the infection of coronavirus and other diseases, free from and be well and healthy. May my boss, employees, and colleagues be free from the infection of coronavirus and other diseases, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all my friends and neighbors be free from the infection of coronavirus and other diseases, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all the people in this country be free from infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all the people in this world be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. May all the sentient beings in this universe free from greed, hatred, and ignorance, free from suffering, and be well and happy. May all the doctors and nurses, caretaker, medical personnel be free from the infection of coronavirus and other disease, and free from suffering, and be well, safe, and healthy. We like to pray for them, especially thank them for risk in the front line. A lot of people. May all the political leaders be free from infection of coronavirus and other disease, from greed, hatred, and ignorance, free from suffering, and be well and healthy. We pray that they have enough wisdom and a sense of humanity to save more life and create harmonious society and peaceful world. May all the people who got affected by coronavirus and other disease will gain the speedy recovery and free of suffering and be well and healthy. May all the people who die of coronavirus will rest in peace and be reborn in a better, happier, healthier realms. I would like to translate of meditation and teaching to all the anonymous heroes who are fighting battle of coronavirus during this pandemic crisis. Amitofo. Now let's rubbing our hands, cover our eyes, massage forehead, soul, ear, and the neck, and shoulder, arms, back, hip, knees, and legs, and feet. Okay? And today, continue yesterday's the topic on the death and afterlife. Okay. As from the beginning, we mentioned that, it doesn't mean there's nothing after we die. The life will still continue after we die, even though our physical body kind of disappear in this world. And we were carried by our karmic force. And so as we mentioned that three things, the major karma, habitual karma, and then the last thought will be effect where you're going to reborn in the next life. And secondly, we mentioned that the definition of death in Buddhism is more holistic, because if according to medical science, they started from stop breathing and then the stop of beating, and now the definition is the brain death. But in Buddhism, in the sutra, in the commentary, keep mention that it's the whole, the parts, organs of dismantle. And so when it's completely that the body loses the temperature, that means the warmth. And at this time, that the consciousness, that is the time for consciousness to leave the body. And then the vitality, the lifespan is end. So check the three factors: the warmth of the body, the consciousness, and then the vitality, the lifespan. So this is more like a triangle. If one collapses, then the other two also collapse. So it's because that the definition of death in Buddhism use the temperature of the body. That is why I think that there is, I want to say contradictory, but we need to be made more. They still have some area need to have a talk with the medical science for the organ transplantation, or especially donate the organ, the donation of the organ. And there was one time I asked some doctor, I said, when you took out the heart or liver, do you think that I said, do you think that they're really dead? They said, yeah. And I said, think that they will feel pain? They said, of course. Okay. if we according to the Buddhist text, okay, the first one, before the body become totally, cold, that the dying people are still going to the so-called dismantling of, the four great elements. That means earth, water, fire, and that means they will still have the function in the body, especially the function of the means the tendon. According to the Buddhist, like Yogacara Bhumi, the the treatise, that when someone is dying, that it has go through the pain because the breakdown of the moma, the tendons. Okay. Of course, for the doctor, for the people in the medical science, well, we don't see it because the medical science only see physical. They will not see the more like psychology or psyche part, or even what we call the spiritual part. Okay, and of course, for a Buddhist have that religious belief and tend to believe that's what happened. Okay, this is why. Okay, now coming. This is why that, especially in Chinese Buddhism, when I mean the Chinese Han tradition, that when someone are dying, okay, the first one, they will not go to touch the dying people's body, will not hold their hands, will not change their clothes. They leave the bodies for like a certain time because the dying people, is going through the procedure of the dismantle of four, great elements, and also the breakdown of moma. So that means very painful for them, for most. And okay, of course, many of the doctors may not believe it, but one of my colleagues, she is a nun. She had been near-death experience. She said when she was dying at that time, the first very interesting, her like a audio sense. That means her ear become very keen, that people are kind of talk very subtly behind the door. She can hear. Secondly, she mentioned it is like the whole body on their skin are very, very sensitive. Like even the wind from the fan, it's just like the knife cutting through the skin. This is what exactly she told me. And looks like it's very correspondent to what the sutra says. Okay, so here that is in the Han tradition. When people, they are Buddhists, if you go to the hospital, this Han Buddhist tradition people will tell you, okay, don't touch the body, and we were doing the chanting. We chanting Amitabha, we call assistant-chanting. And very interesting, there was one time, I went to the interfaith dialogue, and I mentioned this is the Buddhist practice, especially Pure Land school. You know, when someone are dying, and even after they died, they were required for 8 hours just there, not move the body. And very interesting, one of the, the minister, and from, the religions, one of the religion, and then he told me, he said, well, but we need the bed. We need the bed in the hospital. And I said, well, can you just assume that he or she died 8 hours later? You cannot force him or her to die according to what you expect. So this is a very interesting conversation. And I do encourage that we should have more dialogue on the Buddhism and the medicine, and to talk about the organ donation. Okay, I personally, I'm not against, or I'm not against. I do not, opposite to the organs donation, but I think that it's good to have it, because when I talked to one of the doctors, and then he also mentioned, he said, oh, are you also aware about that they are also part of the body, like the eyes, and also skin, our skin, you can donate even after 8 hours. Huh? After the 8 hours after the death. And so this is what I, and about 8 hours, okay, there was no record in the Buddhist Sutra or the Buddhist commentary have exactly show up the 8 hours. It didn't say like 8 hours, then the lose the temperature. No, exactly 8 hours. But in the beginning of the last century, 民国, that there are some masters encouraged to chanting for several hours or even for 12 hours. But it was much later, probably from last century, the second half of last century, and it just become 8 hours practice in the Buddhist community. Okay, so that means 8 hours for what? Do not touch the body and keep in the name of Amitabha. That's the name, to help the the dying person to be reborn in the Buddha's Pure Land. Okay, and one thing I want to mention is, of course, in the commentary, earlier the commentary said that the consciousness all come out from the heart. But of course, later, that commentary mentioned that because we have all different karma, and so if the consciousness are from the feet, that means that you're going to reborn in the lower realm, hungry ghost, hell, or animal. But if the consciousness leave out from the head, that means it will be like in the heaven. It's better. So that means what? Remember, warmth, the temperature in the body, and then also consciousness, and also vitality, lifespan. So that means if it goes out from the head of the head, that means that this part will be the last part still have the temperature. Okay, but the Buddhism say don't touch it. Yeah. So again, whether you believe it or not, but it's indicated in the text. Okay, now besides the 8 hours assistant chanting when someone is dying and or after she death, we're doing the 8 hours, don't touch them, but, kind of help them. Why do we need that? Okay. This is one of the main in the Chinese Buddhist community. The other one, if someone died in our family, then the rest of the family member will go to the temple, every 7 days a week, and up to 9 days. That means after for 7 weeks to have what we call the Dharma function. So you will hear the Chinese say 七七佛事 7 Dharma function, and especially they are very much focused on 头七, the first 7 days Dharma function, like a prayer in the temple, and invite the monks and nuns and chanting the sutra or recite the especially very important for family member to go to the temple and offer the incense and chanting with the monks and nuns. Where does the custom come from? Yes, it's still in the commentary, like it's the Yogacaras, Bhumi, that it indicates, okay, when someone died, or when we died, the body, the physical body is here, of course, and then cremated, so become ashes. So physical body is no longer exist. However, our consciousness, okay, remember Buddhism don't like to use a soul, S-O-U-L, soul, but come to that, they will talk about that. But okay, the consciousness will not disappear. So the consciousness, the existence of consciousness, after you die, and then you're going to be reborn next life. In this in between is called Bado. This is indeed, it's a Tibetan words, and I think the Sanskrit indeed is called, Antara Bhava. That means a birth, Bhava. And okay, or called Bado, we call Bado. The existence in between, before you take a rebirth. And according to the commentary, that this Bado, the existing of consciousness, has the lifespan is 7 days. So die, new consciousness arrive, and then within these 7 days for rebirth. If he couldn't find a place to go to rebirth, this body will die. And then there was a new one coming, like a new life, new life of body. And on this second stage, 7 days, also looking for to be reborn. So in such way, 7, 7, 7. So it will be what? Totally 49 days. That is why in Buddhism, especially in the Chinese Buddhism, that it's become Chinese culture, even if you are not really a Buddhist, but you are so-called the folk religion, Taoist believer, they always have this called 49 days Dharma, 49天佛事, also 法事. So these 49 days, and every first 7 and third 7, first week and 7th week and 3rd week become very important for the family to go to the temple and then invite the monks and nuns chanting the sutra and transfer the Mary to the deceased. So the deceased at this time can base on the Mary collected by the family and by the monks and nuns chanting, and then to get a better rebirth place. So it's become just very common. Of course, a lot of people in Chinese culture, they don't know why, it's 49 days, where it's come from. But many of them, indeed, it's come from the earlier, the Indian Buddhist text. And of course, I don't know whether the Indian still practice or not, but definitely this has become very popular in China. And of course, right now, in the early time, when Buddhism, after the Buddhism came to China, many of them the master want to be reborn at Mantra Buddha, that means the future Buddha, to see that heaven, and will come back to help the future Buddha to spread the Dharma. But you can see that in the later, especially nowadays, I think it's probably especially 19th century, that Pure Land is more like a dominate in the Chinese Buddhism. So now most people after, if you ask most of the Chinese Buddhist member, when you die, where are you going? They will tell you, I'm the Western Pure Land, recited by Amitabha Buddha. So these so-called the Pure Lands faith becomes so popular. Chinese Buddhism, it's almost become just kind of one practice. Everyone, if you hear that the monks and nuns are doing the chanting, and the sutra on Amitabha Buddha, on the Pure Land, it's become almost one of the standard, like you chanting deceased people. So to be born in the Amitabha's Pure Land, it's become nowadays most of the Chinese Buddhists' choice. And I think that even in Korean Buddhism and even in Buddhism too. So, let me kind of conclude that how should we deal with the dying and also the dead people. The first one, when someone is dying, that if you can invite the monks and nuns to help them to do, we so-called take a refuge. Because in this ritual, the will help the person to, first one, confession, repentance. Doing the repentance, just like wash out the sin, 30 out from the body and from the mind. So repentance and make a vow. Make a vow to definitely have a good future. When they come, they will learn more about the wisdom, the Dharma, and they even will vow to help more people. And the final goal, of course, is. And then, when someone are really dying, like this, practice, don't touch the body, but you sitting there and recite the name of the Amitabha's name and help the dying person to more in their mind, concentrate. Also recite, help them to reborn in the Amitabha's, the Pure Land. And of course, after that, after the funeral, indeed after the death, every 7 days, the first 7 days, the second, that means the 14 and 21 days. So then the family will come to temple, invite the monks and nuns to chanting the sutra and transfer the merit to the deceased and wish them to be reborn in the good realms. Amen. So I think that first one, this is our observation that if someone has some religious, spiritual belief, okay, so it's kind of easy for them to deal with death and issue. So I am always saying, like, religious faith, it's a vaccine to when we're facing death, vaccine. And also, I think that if you have the faith, that is also a great comfort for the family. Family through this, religious ritual can feel much, like a relief, feel like they have done something for the death as well. Okay. So this is kind of, I have to spend maybe 5 days, to talk about how Buddhists view about the dying and the death. It's very roughly. In the future, if you have a chance, go to find those books and then read it through in detail. Okay. Tomorrow, I will share with you about the past week we have like a Buddha's birthday, the birthdays, and now is coming the Mother's Day. And so I will share with you some of the story about this. And then the last day will be the Sunday, will be our 49th day, and I will share with you how Buddhism and COVID-19, okay? And as kind of a conclusion. Okay, thank you so much for watching and then doing meditation and listening. And I will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Okay, good night.